Sinjuri, grazzi li qed issegwu il-programm għal ġrajiet kurrenti llum sa nagħtu ħarsa lejn każijiet li qed isiru hawn Malta ta' abbuż tad-drittijiet tal-bniedem. Stejjer li nisimgħu kulħadd jisma' fuqhom, imma sa nkellmu il-vittmi u sa nkellmu wkoll lil xi ħadd li kien xhieda ta' dawn l-istejjer li qed nisimgħu illum. Mary, thank you very much for speaking to us today. Can you describe the day that you found these ladies, gentlemen, outside in Hamron?
Well, I'd heard that there was a problem because I already knew some of the ladies before, because at one point a few months back there'd been a lady who'd been living in the same house, and she'd been finding it very, very difficult because it was mixed, ladies and men. She had a slight disability, and she was finding it very difficult because people were laughing at her, and she just had to get out of the house. So for a very short amount of time she came here, and she lived here and then found alternative accommodation, and that was it. So I did know about the house, and I knew about the ladies. So on that day we'd got a phone call quite urgently saying that there was a big problem, they were being threatened. And so two of the ladies, they brought their cases here, and they said that there'd been this threat that if they didn't pay this, suddenly 280 euros within the day almost, then all of their things were going to be thrown on the street. So they'd managed to bring some things here. A lot of the other things had been left behind. And so I just went out in my car and I drove down the street, and there I saw everybody outside, like just looking like shocked rabbits really, with all of their suitcases. There were suitcases, dustbin bags full of, just everything, food, all their possessions just there on the street. Honestly, I was very angry to see that people could treat, fellow humans like that. So I just got very, very angry. First of all, we went down to the police station. Some of the girls came with me as well, and we tried to see whether there's anything we could do at the police station, but it's a civil matter, so the police were not necessarily concerned.
May I ask, what about the threats from the landlord?
Well, this is, obviously I hadn't been threatened, but the girls were very worried. Everybody was worried. Otherwise they wouldn't have left. They had no reason to leave. They were it was legal for them to stay, but they took the threats seriously. So when we went to the police station, we did show the threatening messages, like, I'm going to show no mercy, and, you'll see who I am, as you said, which I would take very serious as well. But I think especially when you're not in your own home country, you don't have a circle of friends, you don't have any support. I just kind of imagine what I would think if my girls, who were in their 20s, were in a foreign country and someone was threatening them. So, but the police did actually phone up the owner, or whoever it was that they phoned, and I was just told that somebody would have to make a report, otherwise there was nothing the police could do. So.
And these people are very frightened, I have to say.
Well, they're frightened, and I think that they're in a very precarious situation.
When did you arrive in Malta?
7 December.
And how did you get your job in Malta?
My agent applied for it.
You went to an agent?
Yes.
In your country?
Yes.
And applied to come to Malta?
Yes.
And what was the process with your agent?
Like, he applied for my work permit, and from here I got work permit, and then I have to do my biometric in Delhi, and then after that I got my visa.
And did you have to pay your agent?
Yes.
How much did you pay your agent?
I paid my agent 8,000 euro.
8,000 euros?
Yes.
How did you find this agent in your country?
I found him through Facebook.
Through Facebook. And you went to him?
Yes, I called him and I went to meet him. He said, like, after you get visa, you will start your work after arriving at Malta, and your basic is like 1,000 euro.
Okay.
Basic.
Tell me a bit about your life in your country. What were you doing in your country?
I was studying, and I just joined my bachelor.
Why did you choose to go abroad?
To make some money, to support my family, to make career.
Now I have to point out you have absolutely no problems with your employers.
Yes, sure.
But I also have to point out that you're quite experienced because you were working in Dubai before you came
Yes.
here. So I have to say you're very switched on about what you're doing.
All right.
Tell me about your accommodation, please.
Yes, before I came to Malta, I have to make arrangement of my accommodations. So I check on the online like a marketplace, everything. That time I didn't feel it's good for directly paid online. That's why I book on online as a booking.com for the hotel. I book hotel for 1 month and I'm staying 2 weeks there in St. Julian's. Then I can search here locally on the Facebook marketplace. I found an agent for this accommodation in that Hamrun. So I check this is bed space, shared room. Then I take this one. I make an agreement. It's 200 means 175 is the rent and 25 is the utility bill, and it's for a 6-month contract, short-term contract. So I sign the contract. Then I'm staying there.
Did you pay an agency fee to the estate agent?
Yes, I paid 120 euros for the agency fee and 175 the deposit and 200 for the first month rent. And all rent is I paid before the month. If I'm staying this month,
How much was your output before you stepped inside the home?
yes, it's a 200 plus 175 plus 120
Okay.
I paid.
So that was before you went into the house,
Yes.
and that means your first month was paid.
Yes.
So the first month went by and you had no problem. Tell me about the accommodation when you arrived.
Yes.
What was it like?
When I arrived, the accommodations like is there's nothing is facilities there, and everything is still new one. Means no, they making renovation. Even kitchen, washroom is not good that time. But I'm staying there. Day by day, the people's also coming there. Around that time, 30 people's there before I'm staying that time.
30 people in
Yes,
one house.
everyone coming. But even a month, every month, some people's coming, some people's going like this. But I'm still staying there.
Okay. So how many beds in total in the whole house?
Whole house have 40 beds.
40 beds.
Yes, yes.
We more than 30 people use one kitchen, and there was not enough chair to sit on the kitchen.
They've got no spare money. They can't just book a hotel. They can't just, they can't just find something, pay a deposit, find somewhere new. They were literally on the street.
And no source of income, from what I understand.
Yes, for most of the girls. I mean, I don't know for the men because I just took the girls. No income at all.
How much did you get paid?
Last time I get 388 after cutting my social security.
And absent hours because your company did not have work for you. Is that correct?
Yes,
It is correct.
yes.
Okay.
And when we asked company for a job, company said, "Oh, we don't have vacancy now. Our client didn't ask for a job, so you have to wait for bite." But I don't know how much we are going to wait for work.
And you, right now, are you working?
No, I'm not working.
People coming from the Eastern countries, from India, from Nepal, from the Philippines, they're coming to Malta, they're promised work, they fork out a lot of money to their agencies, they arrive here, there's no job, no work for them, they're put in that sort of accommodation, and then they're offered jobs to, these ladies are saying, Hungary or other European countries. Do you believe that Malta is a gateway into Europe for them?
To be quite honest, I think that Malta is a very small island. I think that there have been so many incidents where, I mean, with refugees coming, that it's been made very, very clear that it is too small and that Malta has, does not have the work or the accommodation to be. So now I find it there's that discourse, no search and rescue, and then on the other hand you've got some agencies which I think are completely abusing the situation and just promising people things that is not here. It's a small island, there's not that much work, there's not that much accommodation. Accommodation is horrendously expensive. And I mean, even since I've been here, I mean, I've seen you'd have a flat for a certain amount of money, then it becomes a room for a certain amount of money, and now it's just beds. They're just renting out bed spaces. And nobody, I think, in their right mind would come if they understood exactly what it would be.
8,000 euros is a lot of money. How did you manage to pay your agent in your country?
Like my father had some amount and he borrowed some amount from my relatives.
From relatives. So he took a loan to pay for your agency fees to come to Malta
Yes.
and get a job, a paid job.
Yes.
I mean, we're actually filling the country with poverty now, because these people are on the streets.
2 countries with poverty. You're creating a situation. I mean, the ladies who are here, masters in management or nurses or teachers, they're being taken from their country because they think that there'll be more opportunities, mostly not for themselves, for their families. They're indebting their families, and then they're being lied to. Mm-hmm. So yes, there's a problem here. They're finding themselves with no money, not enough money to buy food, nowhere to live. But at the same time, at home, they're creating poverty. Not the people themselves, but the agents. I mean, it's just money at all costs.
The day you were asked to leave or put out?
Yes. The problem is every month we paying the rent properly as 175 rent and 25 utility bill. Last month, means April month, the owner came to collect the money. Before, one guy is there, he said take care of that room. He came to collect the money every month, but he never give the receipt of that rented bill.
So you're saying to me that the chap you're mentioning is Indian, right?
Yes, he's Indian.
And he worked for your landlord?
Yes.
And he came to collect your rent
Yes.
in cash and
Yes.
never gave you a receipt?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
All of the people I've met, honestly, without fail, I think the Maltese people I've met are very kind, caring, simple in the best sense of the word. People who have got very strong communities and very strong ties within their communities, within the family. But then there are some people who are just completely ignoring that, completely
There's
just
a
for
few
money.
buddies who are basically abusing the system.
Exactly.
Abusing the system. I mean, this is, it's against human rights, completely against human rights.
I think it's 100% illegal to be charging people for employment. As far as I understand in Maltese law, it's illegal for recruiters to ask for any money. And I mean, let's say unethical, the highest level, to be bringing people and offering them, telling them they'll be having a job with a certain amount of money, and then when they actually come here, the reality is very, very different.
How are the girls managing without working? A lot of them are not working.
Yes, a lot of them is not working there because they're waiting for the still job, because they came to work but they still did not get the job. Difficult to stay there, even for the food also. They are taking the money from the home country for surviving here. At least these people have to be understand what they feel, because they know the condition of that guys who staying there, but they don't think about anything. They want only money, and they even did not give the time for at least they arrange the money. No, they want on the spot, otherwise go outside. So this is difficult for everyone.
What do you call this whole process? It's like a very, very wide net. I mean, it's all over Europe, because I understood from one of the girls that her brother is in Portugal and is being treated more or less in the same way. So we're going from Europe, we've got Malta in the center, and then we've got all the countries in the Far East. What are your comments about it?
I wouldn't say it's not human trafficking, it's not smuggling, it's something in between, which I would say it's organised exploitation. And I think that there's a lot of people in a lot of places who understand that there's money to be made by promising things that don't exist, And unfortunately, I think that many people also think that Europe has high standards of legal standards. We have maybe high, I don't know, democratic standards, whatever it is that we tell the world that we are. People think that they can trust coming to Europe. They'll find like a good job, they'll find possibilities of education, whatever it is. And in fact, what we're selling is lies, basically.
Now, I know there are some other girls that we've encountered and that are here with us today, but because of the level of their communication in English, they can't really tell their story. Can you tell me something about their story, especially if it's different to the two we've heard?
I'd say the main difference is that they're paid even more. They've come from South India.
From Kerala?
From Kerala, that's right. And they've paid 10,000 euros each. And so far they've been here for 4 months and they have no job at all.
And on the spot he wants the money. And when we asking for rights, then he is shouting, leave the room, otherwise he put our luggage, everything in the garbage. He throw outside. He behaves us too rudely. And on the group chat, they're giving too much threatening messages for everyone, not for only one guy, to everyone.
I have here a copy of a message that he sent you on a group chat where your landlord said, and he threatened you. He says, if one of you tries to mess up with me or bring me some kind of excuse or play with my nerves, I will show them who I am. I will show them who I am. He basically is demanding that he comes to you on that day, on the 31st of March, and you've got to pay him 283 euros. And he says, so make sure to prepare the money and queue up to pay your responsibility. Today, I have left you peacefully, but tomorrow I will spare no mercy, he says to you.
Yes. On 31st, he came at the afternoon at 1 and he said, who is ready to pay the rent can live here. Who is not ready to pay the rent, you can leave the apartment. Just pack your bag and go. And he want, if there is no one in their room, he said some guy to put their luggage outside the road.
He's shouting, always shouting. He told, we will deport you people, everyone.
Deport you?
Yes. Then all guys getting worried about them because the people don't know the rules here. Then they told, we are locals, so we can do anything. Don't teach us a law.
So because you're saying because he's Maltese,
yes,
he told you he can do whatever he likes?
Yes. Then we going to the housing authority for asking what is the procedure. Then housing authority told us, you have to give the 1 week notice period because it's a short term contract. It's a 6-month contract. If you give 1 week notice period to the landlord, then you can get your deposit even also back. When we asking our deposit, then owner and that take care guy, they're shouting us too much. They always come to shout and they want to pull us outside. Then last moment he came on 31st March. He told 1 o'clock he want to be clear all the guys in the room. Then some guys, they don't have money to go outside. That's why they paid the rent, even that 83 euro plus because of the owner shouting. That's why. But 15 people, they told, they asking that time, give us 3 days, 4 days, 1 week time to pay. But owner directly told he will not give only 1 day even also. He have to pay the money now, otherwise he put outside everyone. Then after 1 hour, they take all luggages, he put on the street. So all ladies, boys, they are crying on the street because they are all, even me also, all are homeless.
We don't know specifically what the problem is, but we are aware that there are a lot of third country nationals living here, being brought over, and quite a lot of them without work. But nobody's really done anything about it. How do you see this situation sorting itself out?
Well, I think questions should be asked a little bit to see whether or not the number of work permits that are being asked for actually correspond to the amount of work that exists here. I think there should be a stop, personally, to continuing to put more and more people in the same situation. It should be understood that, of course, if there's a job and if there's no Maltese person who wants to take that job, then there should be opportunities for anybody to come here and take the job, but it should be for a clear job. The accommodation, from my point of view, is be reasonable. You know, don't be greedy. As I said, from renting a flat to renting a room to now renting beds, okay, if you say there's one room that's €500 and people choose it, in fact they have to pretty much share, because nobody, when they're earning nothing, or I don't know, 300 some have had 150 I've heard that they've got in a month, how can they be paying for a room themselves? Okay, let people share if they have to, and that's a choice, because most of the priority is to be sending money back home. But don't exploit people.
What about regulations like fire and safety in such a small amount of space that's accommodating 40 people living there? Do they have planning permission? Do they have health and safety exits?
I mean, I think the housing, for me, the housing authority have tried very hard to protect tenants' rights. That's why now there's the contracts, and they're quite firm about that. But I think there should be some system of being able to complain without having to take a lawyer, that you can complain directly, that people can be made aware that a certain accommodation or certain landlord shouldn't be allowed to continue giving out contracts if they're abusing.
We heard that Malta is a safe country for everyone. That's the reason everyone came here, even the ladies. The families send all the people to here to earn, because this is a safe country. When we feel like this, we are homeless, they treat us like this, it's hard to us to stay here. Then we think it's not safe for us.
Some ladies were telling me that they're watching some of these girls being picked up in a car by a man, let's say, and dropped off in an hour or 2 hours. And they feel that some of these guys are resorting to prostitution. Do you believe that?
I haven't personally heard it. Oh, well, no, I had heard one rumour of it, but I have absolutely no evidence of it. But to be quite honest, when you're driving people to absolute desperation, then that is the worst thing that could happen. Again, like I say, I think of my daughters. Like, you know, I would hate to be in a situation where I knew that my girls were somewhere being put on the street or being made completely penniless. I mean, I don't know, I think it's unforgivable.
Sinjuri, xidrilkom mill-ġrajiet kurrenti tagħna tal-lum li fis-sena 2023 għandna tip ta' skjavitu, jekk nista' ngħidlek, modern. Ibatu l-kummenti tagħkom fuq in-numru li jidher fuq l-iskrin. Jiena Lea Hoga, Net TV.